So, you've probably heard the term machine learning thrown around everywhere, right? But what does it actually mean? It's not just some tech buzzword, it's the engine that powers a huge part of our daily lives. So let's peel back the curtain and demystify what's really going on.
I mean, think about this for a second. How does your phone do that? You take a bunch of pictures, and boom, almost instantly, it knows who's who, suggesting who you should tag. It can recognize your friends from years ago, in terrible lighting, from a weird angle. How is that even possible?
And it totally feels like magic, right? But it's not. It's a really powerful field of technology called machine learning. And believe it or not, by the end of this, you're going to understand exactly how it pulls it off.
Okay, so let's get down to it. To really get the big picture, we're going to start with the official, kind of textbook definition, and then we're going to tear it apart piece by piece until it makes perfect sense.
Okay, wow. I know, that is a mouthful. But trust me, every single part of that sentence is a crucial piece of the puzzle. It's basically our roadmap. So let's start with that very first phrase, a subfield of artificial intelligence.
The easiest way to think about this is like a family tree. You've got artificial intelligence, or AI, as the whole tree, this huge, overarching dream of creating smart machines. Machine learning isn't the entire tree. Nope, it's one very specific, very real, and very powerful branch that's making that big AI dream a reality today.
All right, that makes sense. But what about the learning part? How does a machine actually learn anything? Well, that brings us to the core engine, and the next part of our definition. Uses algorithms trained on data.
Now, this is where it gets really simple, because it all boils down to two key ingredients. On one side, you have algorithms. Think of these as the recipe or the set of instructions. And on the other, you have data sets. This is the experience. It's like tasting thousands of different cookies to learn what makes the perfect one. You absolutely need both.
And this process, it's actually pretty straightforward. It's kind of like a three-step dance. First, you feed that mountain of data to the algorithm. Then, the algorithm gets to work, training itself by churning through all that info to find patterns. And the final output of all that training is something totally new, a model.
So we fed it data, it's found patterns, but what's the end result? What does this whole process actually create? Well, the entire point is to produce a final product, which our big definition calls a model.
I want you to imagine pouring all that raw data and that complex algorithm into a giant funnel. What comes out the other end isn't just a jumbled mess of information. No way. It's a brand new, highly specialized tool. That is the model. It's the whole point of the process.
Right, so the model is the finished product. If you trained an algorithm on 1 million pictures of cats, the model is the thing you get at the end, a system that can now look at a new picture it's never seen before and say, yep, that's a cat. It's been perfectly trained for one specific job.
Okay, this is where it all comes together and gets really, really cool. We've got our specialized tool, our model. So what? What can we actually do with it? Well, let's look at the very last part of our definition, performing tasks that would otherwise only be possible for humans.
And just like that, we've come full circle. This brings us right back to our original question about your phone. A model that's been trained on millions of faces can perform the very human-like task of recognizing exactly who is in your photos.
But we are talking way, way beyond just sorting your vacation photos. A machine learning model can dive into billions of data points and find one tiny, crucial pattern. It can do something in seconds that might take a team of humans their entire lifetime to figure out.
And get this, it can even, in a way, predict the future. By analyzing mountains of historical data, a model can be trained to predict what might happen next, like how the stock market could move. This predictive power is an absolute game changer.
So let's look at that big, scary definition one last time. It probably doesn't seem so intimidating anymore, does it? We know it's a piece of AI. We know it uses algorithms and data. We know it creates these specialized things called models. And we know those models do incredible, human-like stuff. We did it. We've cracked the code. So that really just leaves us with one last massive question. We've just seen what machines can learn how to do today. As this technology gets even faster, even smarter, what are the next great challenges we're going to ask them to solve? The possibilities? Well, they're just getting started.